What's going on, everybody? Welcome to another episode of the Viall Files. I'm your host, Nick, and we have a very fun, popular guest today, Claudia, girl with no job.
Hey.
How are you?
I'm good.
It's fun to have you on.
It's nice to see you.
Yeah, I don't think it'll ever get old for me, how far we've come as friends.
I mean, I feel like I really used our friendship as a foundation for my life because, I'm 25 and I'm still growing up. I still have a lot of growing up to do. And I just feel like the person I've become over the last few years is so different than like the person I grew up as. And I feel like our friendship is really like a testament to that. And also just like a testament to my whole like mentality, like how I see the world. You know what I mean? Like nothing is really as it seems. Don't believe everything you read, things like that.
Yeah. I'm glad I could have an impact on your life as a whole. What are some other maybe specific things in your life that you think in the past year you've really evolved as a person?
Oh, I think I'm so much more empathetic. I mean, I'm still like kind of rough around the edges, but for the most part, I just kind of used to be like in my own shit and I didn't really care about other people or like if I did something that hurt someone. But I just think I've kind of softened up a lot over the last few years. I don't know if that just has to do with like growing up or just random things. I find myself caring more about other people.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. I mean, I feel like almost you and I, the way you talk about yourself, I feel similarities, especially, I've always even been criticized about sometimes lacking empathy with people, but at the same time, yeah. I feel like I'm a very loyal person. And if you're in my circle, for me, like I'm a ride or die kind of person. Right.
Same.
And at the same time too, even with strangers, it's just like what I know I am is like different in how I express it, right? Like, and I sometimes, I don't know if this is the same with you, but sometimes I don't feel like it's a lack of empathy. I just have a hard time understanding someone's point of view. Like we were talking about, like sometimes it seems to be so simple and granted because we're not emotionally invested, so we're just curt and direct,
yeah.
And it comes across as a lack of empathy. But I think you're right, especially for me, is sometimes through that criticism of other people, you're like, you know what, I probably could be a little bit more aware or self-aware.
Of course.
And conscious of how that's coming across so that if I'm trying to show empathy, that I make sure that I'm doing it because, yeah, you can...
Yeah. And I think a lot of that has to do with the fact that I feel really misunderstood a lot of the time by like people who like know me but don't know me. And I think that I used to make judgments of other people and probably misjudge them based on what I had heard or what I know. But now that I find myself in that position all the time, I find myself, learning more about people before I completely write them off, where I just used to write them off because I felt like it.
Yeah. So, I mean, I'm curious. And so... because you are still an opinionated person, and as you need to be, you're a host of a very popular show. There's a reason why your show is so popular, and that's because you two are funny and give great insight, and you give great opinions, right? So whether people agree with you or disagree with you, they come to hear that, right? So the difference is, and I was funny because like recently I've been critical of Madison, right, or other Bachelor people, and I always say, it's like, listen, and people are like, oh, you've never met her. It's like, I'm just simply giving an opinion of what they put out publicly. And I also don't hate them. Like, I haven't sworn them off. Like, I'd love to get to know them. This is my opinion on this situation. Do you find like that, is that the difference between you now and before, where you would decide you hate someone and now you don't?
Yeah, no, I find myself constantly staying firmly on the middle on every single issue. Like, and it's so funny, me and Jackie, we love Howard Stern, and Jackie made me read his most recent book, and he said, like, part of being a great radio host and like the biggest piece of advice he could give is like, you always have to have a firm opinion on everything. Like, you have to take a stand. You can't just dilly-dally between. And I'm literally the opposite, because I have this unique point of view where I see everything as like a fan. I see it as someone who has fans. And the thing that people love about our show is also, it's like our Achilles heel. It's what people take umbrage with. It's like if we say something unpopular, and it's like, it's even so silly. Like, we were discussing, like 2 weeks ago, Erin Foster had like gotten into some hot water about something she posted on Instagram, saying a lot of people were upset it was insensitive. She basically just posted how glad she was she got married before coronavirus because all these brides are now postponing their wedding. And it was honestly just like a funny, not meant to be, but it blew up in her face, and we were discussing it on our show. And I see all sides. Like, I see the side of someone who people tried to cancel. I see the side of just like a consumer. And like, I didn't think it was a big deal, but it's like us saying the unpopular thing being Erin Foster, it's not that big of a deal. That's not necessarily the most popular opinion. So then people are mad at us for that. It's like the thing that they want from you is also the thing that they get upset about.
Sure. Does that make you nervous sometimes too? Because even for me, it's just like, I don't think I have some social responsibility to like give my honest opinion about all things Bachelor Nation at the, you know what I'm saying? Like, I'm not changing the world and, pop culture. But at the same time, people do appreciate like an honest point of view. And we're in this cancel culture where, especially when you have a platform, people are so afraid to just put any, like Howard Stern, have a firm opinion. And people are like, well, I don't know if I want to have a firm opinion about anything, because if I rub something the right way, how do I backtrack,
Yeah. And cancel culture has like created a sense of paranoia from anyone who has a platform. Because you could be a really, really good, well-intentioned, nice, kind person, and the internet can make you think that you're actually not.
Yeah. And it's a balancing act. I hope that things get corrected. It's funny. This kind of reminds me of, how like right now, you go on the internet and you see these photos of people outside and crowds, and they're like, you don't know where they come from, and it's like, look at these assholes out in a crowd, they're being selfish. And listen, we should all stay at home. I'm trying to use my platform to remind people, when you can, to try to be socially responsible, practice social distancing, stay inside when you can. At the same time, like, there's a balance with things. Like, and it's, for example, like, so I live in Venice, California, right? I went for a workout, and the beach is closed, right? So there's this grassy knoll area, right, that I ran down to, and it was a Saturday afternoon, and it was a nice out. It was busy, and busy in the sense that the grassy knoll had a bunch of people. At the same time, everyone, they might have shown up as a couple, maybe 3 friends. Like, there's not much you can do about that. You can debate whether they should be with their friends or not, But every group was separated. So I found a section where I was easily 20 feet away from everyone, right? I'm by myself. I'm trying to get outside. And all of a sudden, I see this guy walking through the crowd. He has a mask on his neck. And I can just tell, because I've had this happen to me. This guy was pretending to take selfies, and he was recording everyone and taking pictures.
Oh, man.
And I caught him, and I'm looking right at him. I'm just like, he looked at me, and then he went to the top of the park, and he's still filming, and he stopped because I'm looking right at him. And I'm thinking to myself, like, I don't know who this guy was. Maybe he's just a perv. I don't know what he's doing with this footage, but he's definitely could be this person who's just like, look at these assholes outside in a crowd. And I'm thinking, like, I'm 20 feet from everyone. You just walked 2 feet from everybody. So if you are infected, who has a mask on his neck, not wearing a mask, and he's out there being like, look at these assholes in Venice, all at a park. And like, you can get a photo of someone, and a photo of a group, and it looks pretty busy, but like, and I'm thinking again, like, I didn't come close to anyone, right? And like, as humans, we want to get outside, and it's just, I'm thinking to myself, this guy's a dick, right? Like, it's just,
of course,
he's selfish.
I think that like in a global pandemic, we would have other things to worry about, and like cancel culture might take a back seat for the next few months. But I find that it's totally having an adverse effect. Like, people are more on edge than ever. People are just gunning for people constantly. And maybe it's just because it's out of sheer boredom, but I think that the climate has never been more susceptible to cancellation, when you would think people would have better things to do.
Yeah, it's frustrating. And again, like, I'm not saying you should go outside and party. Like, you see some of these pictures, it's not cool, but every picture I've seen of these, I'm like, whoever's taking this picture is part of the problem. They're out there. They're doing like, it's not
totally.
From like a building up top it's
not a bird's eye view.
And it's just like, come on, people. Yes, we should all continue to do our part. And yes, we are reaching that point of quarantine where we're getting antsy. It's like the first few weeks, like, we got this, we can do this, we can stay inside. And honestly, we're all kind of starting to get quarantine fatigue, right? I mean,
big time.
I know I am, and it's been challenging, and we got to try to continue to do our part. And it's scary, but like I agree with you. Like, try to support each other, find the balance.
And you know what? There's just something to be said about disagreeing with someone and not having to voice it. Like, the internet is a big place, and you could fall in love with a YouTuber or a podcaster and you love them and they do something that you disagree with. Like, you don't have to get your pitchfork and start writing out tweets about why you hate them. Like, you can just silently stop supporting someone if they do something that you disagree with. Like, I don't know why it has to be a campaign.
Also, and I'm even fine with you expressing your opinion, but there's always a tone. You can say,
in a respectful way.
This is my opinion, whatever. But yes, you're right. Other people, there's campaigns, there's attacks. They are trying to get other people to support them. They're trying to cancel people. I have no problem with people writing me saying, I disagree with your point of view on
of course.
Peter, Kelly, whoever. Like, I don't agree with you. That's fine. Great. Thanks for listening to my podcast.
Yeah, that's called civil discourse, and it's like not a thing anymore.
You're right, and it is kind of frustrating, but it's cool to see even your evolution, kind of like how you've done that, because you have such an influence on millennials. It is fascinating to see. I will say, you and your sister, what you guys do, it's really impressive. And even our guest today, 3 out of the 4 of the women who called in lost their shit when they realized you were on here. And it was just like, hey, what's up, Nick? Cool. How's it going?
It's been so long since I've run into anyone. I was like living for the attention on our calls today.
Well, I'm glad I could help. I feel really good about it. Anything else you want to share before we get to our callers?
No, I'm so excited to talk with you and everyone, and I hope everyone enjoys the episode.
I think you guys will love it. Claudia is a natural at this. Make sure to send your questions at asknick@castme.com, cast with a K. We'd love for you to give us 5 stars on iTunes if you have the time. Other than that, make sure to tune in to your Listen to Heart recap, and as well as on Wednesday for Raja Kumari, a fantastic episode with her. And other than that, let's get to the questions. New friend to show, Crossrope. I actually have been pretty excited about this. Showed up at my door, and I was like, "Ooh, what is this?" Open it up, and they're jump ropes. I mean, the layman's, if you will, high-end jump ropes. And honestly, I'm always looking for like new things to do to work out. I'm a creature of habit. I get in these routines, and it's always great to just try new things. And I immediately started using it. This neat app, and they give you all these different types of workouts to track and work out and jumping ropes. It works out your whole body. It's great for my core, my arms, my shoulders, my legs. I get great cardio. I've been really on this whole jump rope kick, and it's been amazing.
Yeah, and cross rope, they're weighted ropes, so you get an extra workout than you normally would.
Yeah, this weighted rope, it's hard. It's hard to do, like in a great hard, but like it's
get your heart rate up.
You feel a burn in your shoulders, and it's really good. And like, again, you can build up lean muscle.
Yeah.
So especially for women out there, if you want to get toned, right, and you want to like work your muscles out, but you're not trying to get too big, right? You're not trying to build body mass. Weighted jump ropes are a great way of doing that. It's just a great way to like tone your shoulders, tone your arms. It's a fantastic workout.
Yeah. Plus, it doesn't take up much room in your home. And right now, none of us are making it to the gym. So
if you're ready for a new cardio and full body home workout, visit crossrope.com/VIALL. Get up to $40 off Crossrope sets plus free shipping when you check out today at crossrope.com/VIALL. That's spelled VIALL. That's crossrope.com/VIALL. Ritual, amazing vitamins for women.
Yeah, Ritual, these are the vitamins I take every day. They come in a really cute bottle, as you can see. And my favorite thing about them is they don't make me nauseous when I take them. I don't have to take them with food. They actually have a minty taste, so you feel almost better after you take them. And they just have no shady ingredients. They are rich with D3, omega-3, everything that I'm looking for in a multivitamin. So I can't
And they're
recommend it enough.
sugar-free, non-GMO, gluten-free, allergen-free ingredients. Better health does not happen overnight. And right now, Ritual is offering my listeners 10% off during your first 3 months. Fill in the gaps in your diet with Essential for Women, a small step that helps support a healthy foundation for your body. That's ritual.com/VIALL to start your Ritual today. That's 10% off during your first 3 months at ritual.com/VIALL. How's it going?
Good, how are you?
Good. What's your name?
Catherine, and I'm 21.
How can we help, Catherine, 21?
All right, so I recently got out of a relationship for that was like a year and a half long, and like things were really good. Like we didn't really have any problems. And then just like one day, like a couple months ago, I like just kind of, it felt like overnight. I'm sure it wasn't. I just like kind of like stopped loving him, and just was no longer like physically attracted to him. And I like thought about it for a couple weeks, and then wound up like talking to him, and like kind of went in expecting to break up with him, and then that didn't happen. And then a couple more weeks went by, and then we wound up eventually breaking up. And it was just kind of like a new, like I'm totally fine with my decision, like nothing's wrong there, but it was just kind of like a new experience and like feeling for me. And yeah, I was just wondering like if that's common, like why that happens, like because I've heard of that happening, like you just kind of like hang out with someone because you're bored, but you don't actually like them. But we were together for a while, so.
What's a while?
A year and a half,
Okay.
which was a long time for me. Yeah.
Was that your first serious relationship?
The other relationships were like under a year, but yeah.
Was he the first? Would you consider him the first love of your life, or no? Do you, looking back, do you feel like you still haven't found that person yet?
He wasn't my. I love someone, but I mean, I'm 21, so I think he was the first like big, like I could see a future with this person, love of my life. Yeah.
And so what? You're like, you just kind of woke up and decided not for you, and you're having a hard time processing that? Like, what's your biggest fear out of how you feel about the situation?
Yeah, I guess like I just felt so in love with him one day, and then just to have that go away, it's just kind of, I don't know, it's just weird and concerning a little bit.
Was it literally like Wednesday, you're like so in love, you go to bed, I love you, and you wake up on Thursday and you're just like, who is this person next to me? I mean, like, come on. Was it really that?
I mean,
intense?
I'm sure it was a little bit more gradual than that, but it was definitely like a one day like realization that I like didn't love him anymore and didn't want to be with him anymore.
Hi,
I guess
Catherine.
my question is like, hi.
I just want to say I don't really have any advice for you yet because I don't fully understand your problem, but I would just like to commend you on being able to identify like the problem within yourself. Like 21 is like just to be able to identify like, I don't know if I really even like this person. It's easy to just get complacent. And then I feel like that's how people end up in really long relationships that end up going nowhere. So just identifying the feeling and like going for it and breaking up with someone is truly commendable. And I don't think I could do it because like breaking up with someone is like my worst nightmare. I'd honestly rather be broken up with. So I just would like to commend you for that.
I would agree with Claudia. I mean, it doesn't, and again, unless there's something else going on, is that it sounds like your biggest question is like, you're just not sure how you feel about it. And I agree with Claudia. It's just that I don't think there's anything wrong here.
Yeah. I guess that really like is my biggest question, but it's just, I don't know. I've never heard of like someone like putting in, like actually loving someone and then just like having it go away, I guess.
I'm just
having trouble processing it.
Sure. And maybe you are, like, how long ago did this happen?
It was like mid-March.
Okay. So what, like, how are you feeling now about the situation?
I feel fine about it. I feel really guilty that I wasn't able to like tell him that he did anything wrong. Like I felt bad about,
Yeah, but you know what? You got to be optimistic here. You could be quarantined with him if he didn't make the decision mid-March. So I think this is fabulous. This sounds like a great situation to be in. You know, use this time, go on some apps, figure it out. And as long as you didn't burn any bridges, maybe you could go back in like a year if you feel like you change your mind.
Well, I wouldn't do that, but I mean, who knows? Maybe. But like, my guess is you felt the reason why you felt. And I think, you know, kind of like Claudia said, I think, if anything, what you're doing shows a level of self-awareness and maturity that a lot of people, quite honestly, your age, have a hard time doing it. I know I did. It's just like you get so comfortable and you get afraid of kind of spreading your wings and seeing what's out there, especially if you can't pinpoint anything really damaging or toxic, you just kind of get comfortable and stay in it. But, maybe there's something there for yourself where you're just a little getting antsy about your love life where, like it sounds like to me like you sense something within yourself that worries you. I don't know what that is, but at the same time, I don't think there's anything wrong with realizing this is not how you feel. You are only 21. You don't need a justifiable reason to break up with someone. You know what I'm saying? Like it's not as if when you have a boyfriend or girlfriend that you are bound to each other unless someone like cheats on you or steals from you or lies to you. You're allowed to like lose feelings for them. And then that's it. And it sucks. And people who get dumped, they want an explanation. They want to feel like they can fix it. They want to be like, well, like, tell me what I did so I can understand. It's like, I don't know. I just stop caring for you the way I did. And that's hard to hear. And it really is. Yeah. But I think it's okay. And I think sometimes, kind of to Claudia's point, we have a way of hanging on to these relationships much longer than we should. And quite honestly, that's when it gets really ugly and toxic, right? Because then you start faking it, you start fighting, you start projecting your frustrations onto the person. You hurt his feelings, you cut your losses, but like kind of to Claudia's point, let's say you're quarantined with him and like you're just like, I'm stuck. I'm in this relationship I don't want to be. I feel guilty because I don't want to break up with him during quarantine. And all of a sudden you just start becoming kind of rude to him, short with him, maybe mean, like you're just frustrated and you don't mean to, but you're just projecting your frustrations. And that happens a lot. And you avoided all that.
Yeah. Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
And you didn't waste his time. You didn't waste his time.
What?
Like you could have hanged on for like 3 more years. And then that's where it's like, honestly, you're a bitch because you shouldn't have wasted people's time if you knew you felt that way. So it's like, you really set him free. You're giving him a life. And I feel like you could sleep at night knowing you did the right thing for you and for him.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm with Claudia on this. I think a lot of people forget, they want, no one likes to hurt someone's feelings. And like Claudia said, like it's really hard to break up with someone. But when you break up with someone, you have to allow them to like be mad at you or even hate you. Sometimes that's, again, like letting them go, right? Sure, you're the bad guy in their eyes, but they'll get over it. But that is actually that is somewhat of a selfless act to like just be honest. You don't want to be cruel. Like you don't say or do things to hurt their feelings, but you also don't sugarcoat it in the moment because you're afraid of an awkward situation and you don't want to hurt their feelings. And usually in those situations, when you sugarcoat it and you kind of say like, well, not right now and we'll see and things like that, people hear what they want to hear. And when they don't want to get broken up with, that's when they like hang around. When they feel like they're fighting for something, there's nothing worth fighting for. And,
this reminds me of a story of my friend Kim Kardashian, and she married someone named Chris Humphries. And when she was reasoning after 72 days as to why she wanted to get divorced, she's like, you don't think I feel bad? Like, I just changed my mind. And it's like, it's not anything like he did, even though the show like tried to make it seem like he was a bad guy. Like he was a nice guy and he just like loved Kim and like wanted the life. But the whole thing was like, it all happened so fast and she just changed her mind. It's like, sometimes you connect with someone and you think that it's love, but like maybe you just like them as a friend.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think you guys like,
no, go ahead. I was just going to reiterate at 21, this is the time to figure those things out. This is the time in your life, quite honestly, to be a little selfish.
Yeah.
Yeah. I was just going to say, like, I think you guys unintentionally like answered the question that I wasn't very good at articulating. Like, I was just kind of like waiting for something to be wrong, I guess. And that was like, after like seemingly like a year and a half felt like a long time to me. And I was just like, it didn't seem like a good enough excuse to just not feel it anymore. But thank you guys.
It's like we watch so many TV shows and you think like the only reason people break up is like because someone gets in a car crash. Like sometimes it's not all that dramatic. Like sometimes you just don't like someone.
And my guess is it wasn't even as drastic in your mind as you kind of remember it. My guess is you were just comfortable with the situation and the situation is what you liked being in. And then one day your feelings didn't change. One day you woke up and decided to be honest with yourself about your feelings. And there's a difference.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
All right. Cool.
All right.
Well,
Well,
thanks
thank you
for
guys so
calling
much.
in. Yeah, best of luck.
Yeah.
Start going out and meeting guys on Zoom and FaceTime and start building up that roster. So like when you're able to
Yes.
go outside, you start going for it. Now's a great time to start meeting people.
Lay the
Yeah,
foundation.
I'll try my
Yeah.
best.
All right, you're gonna be great.
All right,
All right,
thank
thanks
you,
for
guys.
calling in. Claudia, how many people have you broken up with?
0.
Because how many people did you want to break up with and you got them to break up with you?
0. Ben's my first boyfriend.
Oh, okay. Did I know
Yeah,
that?
I'm not really like the person to be giving dating advice because I've only been on one date, but I don't know if that makes me like an expert or not.
Listen, everyone has their own story. We're not experts on this show.
No.
We proudly say we're just people with opinions. And if you think if you think it's entertaining and helpful, then great. If not, sorry. But it's always nice to have people from all different walks of life.
Exactly.
There you go. How's it going?
Hi, going good. How are you?
Good. What's your name?
My name is Sam. I'm 27.
How can we help you, Sam?
So, a bit of a long question, but basically, my boyfriend and I have been together for over 5 years now. And while we've had our ups and downs, I can honestly say that we are stronger than ever because of the hurdles we've overcome as a couple. Our sex life is phenomenal. He's always made my satisfaction and pleasure a priority. However, it's nearly impossible for me to make him finish. No matter what I do to him or how long I do it for, or we do it for, he can only finish by self-masturbation. This will usually happen after we've already had sex for a while, and I can tell that it feels amazing for him, but I want to be able to make him finish on my own and not with his help. After 5 years, you can imagine that I've literally tried everything.
Okay, no, go ahead. Go ahead.
I'm not really complaining because we can literally have sex for hours if we want to. But also it would be amazing if he could finish naturally during sex or oral, the way that he always tries to make me do. So basically, Nick, my question for you and Claudia, is my man biologically prone to being an Energizer bunny in the sack? Or is there something different I could do that could work?
It's probably the former, more than likely. How old is he, by the way?
26.
Okay, so I would have guessed maybe he's a little older. Because like as guys get older, it's when they're young, it's just like it takes them a few seconds. It's all exciting.
Mm-hmm.
It's new. Everyone gets a little numbed, literally, to kind of. Are you guys using condoms?
No.
Okay. Does he watch porn?
Probably, but not a ton. I wouldn't say. I mean, we have together before, but
Sure, yeah.
it's not really a focus.
Have you talked about this with him?
Actually, I have. I've been thinking about it for a while, and that's kind of how I got the idea to send an email here. And after kind of writing it out, we ended up having sex, and I kind of used it as a test. And I'm like, okay, well, let's see how this ends. And basically, however it ends, I will either go on the podcast and get some advice or not. So you can imagine that, I mean, it was amazing, but of course it ended how it always has. And so I kind of asked him about it because it's not that he's never been able to do it. He comes every time. It's just kind of on his own. But in 5 years, it's maybe only happened naturally, maybe like once or twice. So I did kind of ask him about it, and he was very open. And he basically explained the sensation that he feels is like almost being too overwhelming. And so he almost has to like pull back in a sense to be able to like get there.
Natural habits, essential oils. Well, guys, as you know, you're staying inside a lot. We certainly hope. You want to make sure your indoor air is just as fresh, healthy, safe, and clean as possible. And essential oils are a great way of doing that. They also have those additional medicinal benefits like helping you relax. They can help with headaches, get a boost of energy, and also as well help support your immune system. We specialize in blends to maximize the benefits. 100% USDA organic certified. Check us out at nhoils.com. They also come in a very convenient, easy to use roll-on form. 30% off, code natural. That is 30% off, code natural, nhoils.com. Check us out, as well as free shipping.
Now, can I chime in just really quickly? Now, I don't really have any technical tips because that's just like not my thing, but I really am just seeing this as maybe like not a terrible problem to have. Like, just like you think in the grand scheme of like the world and your relationship and like the things that could be wrong with sex. Like when you were saying this, I was like, oh my God, where is this going? And where it went, like, wasn't that bad. So like if the problem, I just want to say, if the problem never gets solved, like I think you guys can have a very happy, long life together. I don't think it's like the biggest deal in the world. And to be honest, it's like less work for you. So I want to put this, some rose colored glasses on this before we dive in.
Yeah, I mean, if we said nothing more, I honestly think that's all we really need to say. I actually agree with Claudia there. But just to to get into the weeds a little bit, there's probably a couple of things. One, like he's definitely not the only guy. I mean, quite honestly, TMI, like I've finish the way he does, right? Like, listen, everyone knows themselves better than anyone else. Doesn't matter, right? Doesn't matter who your partner is. He's been getting to know himself for a really long time. And, like when he wants to go faster or slower or longer strokes or shorter strokes, that's all on him, right? That's all on him and his whatever hand he's using. And so like nothing, and same with women, right? Like you guys know yourselves better than guys. And it's really nice to, have your partner do it. The fact that it's not impossible, even though it's been one or twice, shows that he can do it. There's a combination of like, he's in his routine. It's what he's used to. He feels less pressure. There's also an element in what you were saying too. It's, listen, also, be careful, like, be thankful what you have, right? As a guy, right? It sounds like your partner does. Like, I want to be focused on my partner, right? So there is a concentration element. Again, if I'm not 22 and I'm just like, no matter what happens, like, it's just like this, you got 2 minutes. So let's, get in what you can, because about 2 minutes I'm going to be done. Like, that's not going to happen for him. He's used to having sex with you. He's not. So he's focused on you. And that means his attention is on you. His attention isn't on him. So after a while, at least for me, if I'm having sex long enough, like it becomes harder to finish down the, like if I start having sex, right? And I'm focused on me, I could probably finish pretty quickly, right? Relatively quickly. If my focus is on her, I'm just focusing on what I want to do to make her happy, make her feel good. And all of a sudden we're going for a while. After like 15, 20 minutes, it's like, I'm tired. She's like, I have to reset. It's just harder. So like, he's just kind of doing it. I guarantee you, because he's just like, all right, you're good. Let me just do this because I know it's going to be harder for me to do it the old fashioned way, if you will. And like, you're done and maybe you're sore. And I'm like, can I just finish, And I guarantee you that's generally what his mindset is. It's just kind of physically easier. And, he doesn't want to have to concentrate so hard on doing it the way you hope. And that's really what it comes down to. It's really not an issue.
And, there's like a misconception, like when you watch TV or porn, that like sex, everything happens at the same time and it's all perfect time. And it's not real. And to be honest, like, think it could be the other way where it's like he doesn't give a shit about you and he's like beating off in the corner. So honestly, this sounds like a dream. And the fact that you brought it up to him and he was like not weird and defensive about it, I feel like a lot of guys would be like, all weird and butthurt that you were like talking about like an issue in sex. Like the fact that he seemed like cool about it, he sounds like a great guy. I
agree. It sounds like you have a pretty level-headed guy who's focused on you. And the one small downside is that you personally, who also wants to please him, and I get it, like, a lot of girls, and like if this has ever happened with me, sometimes it's like, women are as prideful as men sometimes in the bedroom. You want to feel like you got your guy, it's all you. Trust me, he's very into you, right? Like he wouldn't be so focused on making you feel good if he wasn't that into you. I can guarantee you that, right? And this is not of an attraction to you. Like, little things, if it bothered you, he could probably masturbate a little bit less and watch a little less porn, you know?
Mm-hmm.
You know, maybe like, I don't know how often you're having sex, but as a guy, there's a solid bet that every day you're not having sex, he's masturbating. And that's totally fine, right? But if you wanted to try, and as a couple, and you said to him, listen, babe, I know it's not a big deal, but like, it kind of makes me feel good if you were to, whatever. And so like, maybe let's wait a few days, build up the, you know, sensitivity, if you will, and it'll be, you know, make it about him one time, you know, not make it about you. Like kind of give him permission to be a little selfish because you're getting something you want, and that is the satisfaction knowing that he finished in a more traditional way. But big picture wise, I totally agree with Claudia. This is not really a big deal, and trust me, he's not the only guy this happens with.
Right. Yeah. And in no way do I want this to come off like I'm complaining, because I know that it's not a problem per se, but I mean, yeah, I have talked to friends here and there about it, and they have mentioned, you know, like that magical moment of finishing at the same time, and
liars.
You know, I don't.
Half of them are lying. Half of them are lying. I mean, listen, in my life, I can on maybe two hands over my life that's maybe happened, and then there has to be like, and honestly, it's like it's cool when it happens, but there's luck and there's too much, like it's too fucking hard, man. Like it's just, you're focused on whatever. What does that even mean? The same time, like whatever.
Right.
Like,
right.
You know, get yours, get his, and like as long as you are, and again, because you're in a relationship, it might not even happen every time you have sex. You know what I'm saying? Like he might get off, you might not, as long as like it seems like you guys are good communicators in general and in the bedroom, and I think it's important. And as long as you're both feeling like overall you're both sexually satisfied, that's a win. I mean, there's enough of people in relationships who have so many more problems in bed that this is not a huge, don't stress yourself out over it. That's for sure.
Yeah.
And don't feel insecure about yourself as a result. It's not you.
Okay. Thank you. Yeah. I mean, I definitely do feel like we're both satisfied. I guess it is more just, I want to be able to do that because I feel like I am doing the right things.
Makes sense. Yeah.
So it's like, what's going on here?
Nothing really. Again, if just to repeat, if there's anything, and again, if you wanted to do it once in a while, my guess is on your days off, he's masturbating. And if he didn't, and he wasn't watching porn, and he took like 3 days off without climaxing anywhere, it would be much easier for him, and he would go faster. And also, you would tell him, listen, this is about you right now. Like, don't worry about getting me off. Don't like I want, whenever you can, you should come as fast as possible.
Yeah.
And my guess is he will.
Okay.
But you both sound like lovely people.
Oh, thank you so much. You're both lovely as well.
I feel like, yeah, this is a good call, but I think these questions happen a lot. There's a lot of preconceived notions and misconceptions in terms of like the men's role or women's role in a bedroom, and it's supposed to be easy for guys to get off all the time, and if a guy doesn't get off, he must not be attracted to me. Like those are all mostly false.
Okay. Cool. Well, I mean, yeah, I think that helps a lot. And again, over the 5 years, you know, it's hard to imagine that I can really do much different to really try to get a different result. But yeah, I mean, just a little bit of insight helps, and I'll definitely give your advice a try.
Yeah, I would be surprised if he did all those steps, it wouldn't happen. But again, like, don't feel like you have to do that all the time.
But at the same time, like, we live in a 600 square foot apartment. So, I mean, I'm pretty aware that not much is going on. But who knows what happens in the bathroom when the door's closed? I really don't know.
So true.
Maybe he doesn't. And you know what? If he does, don't shame him for doing that. Like, guys do that. Of course not. It has nothing to do with, overall, you guys sounds like you have a healthy sex life, and just be careful to fuck with something that sounds pretty solid.
So true. The best advice I've ever heard.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. I completely agree.
All right. Well, thank you for calling in, Sam. Best of luck.
Yeah, thank you guys so much. It was
All right.
really great meeting both of you.
Yeah, you as well. How's it going?
Hi, how are you?
Good. What's your name?
I'm Fran, and
Fran.
I'm 29.
How can we help you, Fran, 29?
All right. So me and my ex-boyfriend dated for about 3 years, and we got a dog after we moved in together. And we broke up. I moved out, and we decided that the dog would live with me primarily since he has a crazy work schedule and is rarely home. And he would take the dog on random weekends about once a month whenever I traveled. And fast forward to now, over a year after our breakup, I want to figure out a way I can broach the subject of me taking the dog permanently. But I want to be fair to him, and I want to treat him the way that I would want to be treated if I were in his position. But it's a little bit complicated because our breakup was friendly at first, and then he turned hostile, sabotaging my move out, and he was verbally abusing me and yelling at me. He's a lawyer, and so I feel like he has more, obviously, legal knowledge than me. He signed the contract from the breeder when we bought the dog, but I paid more money than he did, so it was like 60-40. Yeah. And he has a new girlfriend now, but he used the dog for his dating profiles, obviously, to get women. We all know how that works. And a few weeks ago, he blocked me and my friends and family on social media. And he texted me to tell me that he wants to make it clear that we can only text about the dog's well-being and nothing else, which was completely out of the blue. And I don't talk to him about anything about the dog anyway. And so I'm wondering if he's going through something emotionally, or maybe his girlfriend is jealous and made him do that. I'm not really sure, but clearly he's going through something right now. And I just kind of want him out of my life for good. And it doesn't make sense for me to share the dog anymore since I have him like 98% of the time. So I just wanted to see what you guys have in terms of advice for me.
Claudia, do you want to? I mean, I have lots of thoughts, but I'm curious if you do.
This is so Legally Blonde. I'm taking the dog, dumbass. So I feel for you. Like, this is honestly like a terrible situation, just like having to be in contact with someone who you tried to excommunicate. I think like him being a lawyer sucks, but for the most part, I think the law's on your side. Possession is 9/10 of the law. So if you are like taking care of the dog and feeding the dog and wiping the dog's ass, like, to me, I don't see how any judge could judge otherwise. I don't know. I'm like so shady. I kind of want you to like stop giving him the dog like once and then twice, and then like maybe he'll just forget about the dog forever, you know?
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, I think so far Claudia and I have really been, connected. To be a little bit more specific, yeah, I mean, listen, my gut tells me a lot. This is mostly driven by his new girlfriend. Okay. Imagine being in her shoe. Like, she does not like that you guys share a dog. All the dog is to his new girlfriend is something that you guys still share that she's not a part of. That's going to make her most likely feel a little bit insecure. Even if she is mature, she's going to be like, fine, I mean, I love dogs, but like, let's get our own dog, right? Like, she is going to be irritated about him doing that, right? Which means most likely that she probably, at first she accepted it. At first she was like going along with it. And as she got more comfortable in that relationship, she was kind of like, well, what's the fucking situation with this dog? Like, why are you like connecting? And so like, it sounds like, based off of what you're telling me, that if it was so out of the blue, he did it with her like looking over his shoulder, right?
100%.
And so it's all bullshit and shit you don't need to like really dwell on or worry about. Again, I'm not a lawyer, and I'm certainly not an expert in like dog custody battles, but not being a lawyer, my guess is, yeah, Claudia's probably right. Like, I don't like people just because people buy and purchase dogs from a breeder, right? They might sign something. They may have to give up that dog to someone else. I don't know if there's a lot of contracts being exchanged when this happens, right? You certainly paid more. That probably works in your favor. He might be a lawyer. There's a lot of lawyers out there, right? So if you wanted to like cover your asses, I maybe even have a friend, or even like if you really care about this dog and you want to like just cover your ass, spend a couple $100 and get a lawyer to be like, here's a situation. What do you think? What steps can I go about protecting myself? I also think what you should do is just cut him off. I wouldn't even give you a dog anymore. Block his ass on everything. Block his number. Most likely, and maybe check with a lawyer, I don't know, but most likely he's going to get super pissed that you blocked him and throw a fit, but he'll just give up. And you also like, you got to be really happy about this girlfriend existing, because he can only fight so much, because like the more he cares about you blocking him, the more she's going to feel insecure about like, why do you even care?
Oh.
Yeah, and my feeling is that, like, if she's the one, like, the timing is so weird that he's now being rude to you and he has this new girlfriend. Like, it obviously has to do with her. And I'm sure she doesn't want him to take the dog. Like, I'm sure she doesn't want this dog in her house that used to belong to her boyfriend's ex-boyfriend, and then to go through all the motions where, like, you guys are going to start fighting and talking. Like, she doesn't want that. She probably just wants a clean break. So I don't want to jinx it, but I think you're pretty much safe to just, like, take the dog and run.
I tend to agree, At the same time, we just want to make it clear that neither Claudia or I are giving you legal advice. So if you want some, make sure to like, again, it might cost you a couple $100. I'm not saying that's like nothing, but even maybe, I bet someone who knows someone who's a lawyer and said, can I bend your ear on this? Right? My guess is you're probably fine. And I strongly feel like he can only fight so much. Like, he is not going to make this a big fight, because that's going to really piss off his girlfriend. And he's going to...
I should use the quarantine to my advantage, and with the timing of that?
What I think is, you don't explain... No, you ghost him. He's not your boyfriend. He's your ex-boyfriend. You've been broken up for a year. This whole dog charade has been whatever reason. Like, I'm not saying he doesn't love the dog, and I'm not saying he doesn't have a bond with the dog. But to your point, like, you've had this dog 90%, 98% of the time. And so, like, really, like, is he really checking it once a month? He takes the dog out for a walk, maybe to, like, honestly, who knows? Maybe not. But, like, to, like, meet girls in the park. I don't know. But, like, if you want to share custody with a dog or a person, share custody, right? Like, this whole, like, once in a blue moon, you take the dog out, that's not ownership or love. Like, there's something going on there where he's using it. He might convince himself he loves this dog. He believes that he's, like, really in love with this dog, but it's probably all bullshit. My gut tells me he'll get pissed. He'll throw a fit. You won't even know about it because you're going to have blocked him, so you won't be able to receive his texts. You won't be able to receive his phone calls. You won't be able to receive his DMs. He can't get a hold of you. Like, he might be able to email you, and if he does, you delete him. I know this is giving you anxiety that I'm saying it, but that's what you should do. And you won't know. And he's going to throw a little bit of a fit, and he's going to make a bunch of threats and try to do some things, but ultimately he's not going to do shit. Because A, he probably can't do anything, and B, his girlfriend is only going to get pissed.
Right.
Yeah, I'm just worried about retaliation because he is a lawyer. If I do block him and if I do piss him off like that, I don't want him to come back at me even worse.
What could he really do? Again, this is a question for a lawyer. And you should, like, just check in. Ask. First step is, do you know any, like, friends or family members who have friends who are lawyers?
Yes.
Ask them a favor. Hey, here's a quick situation. Should I, like, should I get representation to protect myself, or am I probably fine? Fine. There. Step one.
Okay.
There's just no way he's going to put you through this long custody battle over this. If he really wanted the dog, he would have wanted to share this dog with you.
That's true. He hasn't seen the dog in 2 months, and before that, it was another 2 months.
All it really was two things. One, a hook to, like, stay connected to you for whatever reason, right? I mean, listen, you had an amicable breakup, and then he got toxic, which means that it wasn't really amicable, because it never really is. You had a little bit of a power. He decided to be cool, and then he decided to be a little bit insecure about it, and as a result, he was mean. Right? You had the power. He kept you close through the dog, and then used it to his advantage for dating. He doesn't want this dog.
I think you're fine, but I'm sorry. That sucks. Like, my dog is my life. And like, if I ever had to worry about custody, like, I would literally kill someone. So I feel you.
Yeah.
The same kind of dog as yours too.
No way. Oh my God, girlfriend, you cannot let anyone touch that dog.
I'm trying.
I got you, sis. You need a lawyer.
Yeah, I think you're going to be okay. Just, check with a lawyer. I think you're going to, but I think you're going to be fine. And he's just kind of petty.
Totally.
Yes.
And he knows that he's a lawyer, and he's leveraging that.
Yeah. He's a dick.
True.
Sorry.
Okay.
I want to make it clear that we can only talk about the well-being of the dog.
I know. This
is great. He's literally
like a crazy person. For no
he's
reason.
literally giving you permission to block him because you're like, listen, the dog's fine. I'll let you know. And I don't mean not to be morbid, but if at any reason the dog's not fine, I'll let you know.
Yeah.
Until then, you got nothing to talk about. He didn't say we can only talk when we're talking about like me coming over and pick up the dog. No, he said the well-being of the dog. Dog's fine.
Right.
Okay. All right.
Let me ask you one more question before I let you go.
Okay.
Do you really want him out of your life? Because or is it just really about the dog and you being afraid of his influence over it?
No, I definitely want him out.
Do you have anxiety? I'm telling you this, and you have some anxiety about like going through with this.
I just don't want him to retaliate and then somehow the legal, repercussions of it all means that he gets the dog instead of me. So I don't want to start this battle if I am not confident that I can win it.
Yeah, no, you're right. And you shouldn't. And that's why you definitely should just get some actual legal advice.
Yeah. I definitely want him out of my life. I do not need to talk to him anymore. I have no feelings for him. I'm the one that initiated the breakup in the first place. I'm done with it.
I mean, I'm not a lawyer. I can't imagine a situation where like, he serves you, right? And fights for the dog, and you go to court and you tell him the story. The judge is going to be like, dude, bro, come on. Like, nah. You know what I'm saying? Like,
also my emotional support animal. So,
right.
Like legally?
Well, you can't legally really register. It's not really actual legal thing. There are databases that you can register them that way, but it's not a real thing.
I mean, I'm just saying.
I do have a letter and everything that way.
Me too.
Yeah, you have the dog. He's yours all the time. Like, this all sounds...
I think you're going to be fine.
All right. Blocking initiated.
Good luck.
All right. Good luck.
Thank you,
All
guys.
Right. All right. Take care.
All right.
Bye.
Claudia.
Yeah.
Knock on wood, and obviously you have a lovely marriage, but would you even try to share your dog with your husband if things didn't work out?
Absolutely not. That fucker's mine.
I
just don't. I was going to say that, but I don't like to talk, like, put things out in the universe,
Sure. Yeah. I mean, this is not the first time, people have broken up and they share dogs, and for the life of me, and I get it. They both love the dogs. I understand that, but maybe.
By the way, that's tough. Like, that's why, we didn't get a dog until we were engaged. Not for any other reason than just timing, but I don't know if I was like in a relationship, if I would get a dog. It's so permanent.
Yeah, it's tough, but
I wasn't about to like yell at her for making a bad choice.
No, what are you gonna do? This guy sucks though.
Oh, totally. What a prick.
How's it going?
Hey, I'm Maggie, and I'm 29 years old.
Hi, Maggie, 29. How can we help you?
So I guess it's more about how you can help my friend, and how I should communicate with her. I have a friend, we've been close for probably 2 years, and she's been in an on and off relationship for the past 3.5 years. And when we met about 2 years ago, it was always described to me as like, oh, it's complicated. I have this like soulmate, but we're not together right now type thing. And at first, and I'm like very naive and like see the world through rose-colored glasses. So I'm like, oh, I'm sure he's great. Like I'm sure she's viable reasons for thinking he's her soulmate. But then it kind of, especially recently, it's really been grating on me that he's just not that into you, like the exception versus the rule. And I'm really starting to see that she's probably the rule and she keeps trying to justify being the exception.
Okay.
So for example, he has told her explicitly, like, I can't be in a relationship right now. They're both in grad school. They met in undergrad and they had like, and I didn't know her during this time, but apparently that's like when the magic happened and they were like in love and together and like on this journey together. And then when they both got into different grad schools, that was their first breakup. And then they've just been, kind of like on and off, on and off. But what's really weird about it is that like he's told her that he wants her to be the mother of his children and they're soulmates, they're in love, but I can't be with you right now. So he's kind of like putting, not that women are objects, but I feel like a good metaphor is that he like put the sweater on hold, but like isn't ever going back to pick it up. So it's just like, okay, well now no one can get this sweater. Or like, it's probably a terrible derogatory comparison. And I guess like I just struggle understanding his motive. Like what's in this for him? Like why wouldn't he just, if he really doesn't want to be with her, why can't he just say, you know what, like I'm done?
Because he doesn't have to. She's not forcing him to make that decision. Let me ask you this: when it comes to your concern for your friend, how much is she really coming to you with questions? Like, how much is she seeking your advice? Or are you just kind of noticing this from afar? You've developed your opinions, but ultimately this is just what she's doing.
I think for me, it's gotten to the point that I feel like I need to be more direct about how I feel with the amount that we're talking about it and that she's calling me, bringing it up. Yeah.
So she does bring it up to you a lot. Okay. That's.
But then I also think that when we first started becoming friends and I first kind of became her confidant, it was a lot more like she knew she could come to me because I'm kind of like the nice cop or like, like I'm like the person that's gonna be like, oh, you're fine. Oh, he sounds great. And I'm like
coming for you to validate. She knows.
Yeah.
People do that. Like subconsciously, it's like when we want tough love, we know who to go to. When we want someone to like validate our own bullshit, we also know who to go to. Like we do that.
Exactly. Yeah.
I mean, this is very reminiscent of a storyline playing out on Vanderpump Rules right now. Like, your friend is Kristen, and you are Katie, Stassi, and like, by the way, and I feel for Kristen because she like keeps making the wrong decisions, but at the end of the day, like, it's not your fucking job to like figure out other people's lives for them. And I get that you want to be a good friend and you can say what you want to say, but at the end of the day, it's like, it's not your responsibility to fix other people's problems or open their eyes to what's actually going on. Like, she's an adult, she's obviously smart, she's in grad school, like, this is the decision she's made for herself. And at some point, like, you could say your piece, but you do have to just like let it go.
Yeah.
Totally. Yeah.
At the same time, it's one of those things too. Now, if she's still coming to you and you're just like, okay, you just need to change your approach, right? A couple things. I agree with Claudia in the sense that like you can't help people who don't want to help themselves, right? If she's not interested in changing and she's just interested in you listening, she's not going to change, And if you're that, but you also have the right as a friend to be like, listen, I love you, but like you keep saying the same things to me and I'll listen, but are you interested in like hearing what I think? But at the same time, like it's as a friend, you're complaining to me about a lot of the same things and you are doing nothing about it. And you are very smart, friend. So I just want to put that out in the air, right? And you do it in a sweet way, but you have to change your approach. Start slowly letting her know that you're going to start being bad cop a little bit. And that might open up her eyes, right? You might, that might be like, hey, oh, wow, if she's saying this, well, then maybe I need to, but you have to be prepared for her to like not react the way that you want her to, because most likely she'll like think it's an attack on her. So of course, like to clear your conscience and like genuinely be a good friend, like you should say how you feel. But if she reacts in a way where it's clear that she wants nothing to do with reality, like I think you can wash your hands of it. Yeah. And ultimately, you can just say, listen, I love you no matter what. You're my friend. I'm there for you. I'm not judging you. But if you're going forward, if you're going to ask my opinion about your relationship with him, just know that this is how I feel. And I am fine supporting you no matter what, no judgment. But like, that is how I feel. So like, I just like, if you're coming to me to like support this relationship, I might not be that person anymore. Because I care about you. I love you, you know? And just, you always want to do it with love. You don't want to come at him. In terms of like, why is he doing this? I mean, listen, there are a lot of guys out there, especially what I've noticed too. It's just like guys who are planners, right? They have a plan for their lives. I'm going to grad school. I'm going to be a doctor. I have this like plan. And then they meet this girl who's seemingly nice and sweet. And more importantly, and I don't think he's thinking this consciously, but certainly subconsciously, he knows that she is okay with sitting on the bench. Right? And she's a relief pitcher to him. Like, you're not my starter. You're not playing the whole game, but once in a while I need a lefty. Right? And I'm going to throw in this lefty to get these, you know, and when he needs her, she's there. Right? And, you know, he knows how to talk to her. She might get frustrated and she might storm off, but at the end of the day, she's not quitting the team. She's like, she feels too invested, right? And what she is she feels a little stuck because she's basing so much of her relationship on an idea of something, right? And an idea of promises and the future. And this picturesque life that he's probably sold her about like a couple little grad school doctors. And we're going to have this. And, you know, it's a tough position to be in. But what you need to do and sprinkle in from time to time, confidence, right? Make her feel confident about herself. If she's willing to listen, like tell her how beautiful she is. And like whether it's him or any guy you'd be lucky to have. Hopefully, and that's the thing. I can't say that she'll figure it out because there's lots of times guys like him will eventually come around when he's ready to like stop having sex with other people and he's graduating. And when he's real, like, you know, it's time for me to start my family. This is the new, he is going to probably propose to her and she'll probably say yes. And then she'll probably feel very ordinary and average and it won't feel special. People make those things. People make those decisions. There's no, you know, I don't believe in fate and I don't, you know, that's just me. You know, you make choices, you live with it. And she might live, you know, that's just something she's going to have to live with. But you can only do it with love. You can't do it with criticism. Yeah. She's, you know.
No, and I think you kind of hit the nail on the head in terms of why it doesn't sit right with me. And I think just because I'm such an idealist and I feel like I really can't have that be her story. Like I just can't, but it might be, and like
it's not your life. It's not your life. You know what? And she is a big girl, right? She is smart because, and you know what? There's a reason why divorce exists. And I'm not saying, you know, she might say yes to this guy and they might get married. I don't know. She might break up with him tomorrow. But if it ever gets to the point where she's so miserable, she wants to leave, she can leave. She'll leave and she'll have to live with her choices of getting him and wasting money on a wedding, you know, a messy divorce. Like that's part of life. We make choices. We have to live with our decisions. And then we usually have an opportunity to learn from those decisions and make our lives better. Right? Like he's just a dick. And like, yeah, it won't ruin her life, you know?
Yeah.
How old is your friend?
Yeah. She's 24, so
yeah, she's super young.
Why am I hanging out with these kids? I don't know.
It doesn't really matter. I mean, like, listen, she could get married and divorced and be 28 and still have, you know, whatever. You can only really show her support. You can only give her feedback when she really asks for it, and you can politely ask her not to expect from you unconditional support on the relationship you have a hard time supporting.
Yeah.
And you just say it in a way like that doesn't make her feel judged. And I think she has the best chance of listening. But also, there's a good chance she'll just wake up and realize he's not the one.
Yeah. I hope. We'll see.
You seem like a nice friend because you care so much about other people. Like, I don't care about anyone. So you seem really nice.
You care about Theo.
So true.
Yeah, it's, you know, it's tough. It's tough trying to be a good friend, but
yeah, I don't like lying. like I feel like it's okay to like white lie, but then when it gets to a point where I'm like blatantly going against my like ethics inside at this point, like I'm just kind of like, yeah, just
you don't have to lie. You
anymore.
just say, hey, listen, I love you and I'm going to support whatever relationship you want to be in. But if you're asking for my honest opinion, and I know this might hurt, this is how I feel.
Yeah.
But if you love them, I love them, you know? But also, I think you deserve whatever you want, and you deserve the world, and you can have any guy you want, and you just gotta have to, you know, she's a little scared of leaving something that seems so comfortable.
Safe.
Totally.
You know? And even though she's frustrated half the time, she's comfortable with the frustration. It's what she knows. It's consistent, and it makes her feel wanted sometimes. And he fights for her just enough to make her feel validated.
Yeah. Oh, man.
So
Well,
that's all you can do. That's all you can do.
Thank you.
All right.
Thank you guys so much.
Thank you. All right. Bye.
Cute.
Claudia, you seem like me in the sense that with your friends, you're the tough cop.
Well, yes, I very rarely do I become very sympathetic, but more often than not, like I just can't deal with people who cannot control their own problems, like, and who can't see outside. Like I have such a firm grip on reality, and I like to think that I'm so self-aware. So people who live in this life with like rose-colored glasses, like I really can't relate to that kind of mentality, and you can't really ever get to them. Like no matter what you say or how articulate you are, like you will never change their mind. So it's like, why bother?
Yeah, no, I'm kind of the same. I said this on a podcast where I was a guest of, and it's just like half the reason I say what I say and how I say it is self-preservation, because I don't have the patience to sugarcoat it. And it's like, if you want my opinion, this is what I think. But other than that,
right.
like, I don't.
And I don't think people are coming to your show or mine to like hear like a fake ass sugar-coated piece of advice, because honestly, like that's just not how I am.
And even with my friends, I've set the expectation of like this, if I don't listen, if you want,
Like I'm like, this is your problem. You know how good your life is? Stop complaining.
Yeah. Cool. Well, Claudia, this has been a ton of fun. I got to say, I really liked your advice. I felt like we had a nice balance. You never really know. So it was really great. Where can, obviously people find you? Not that they already don't know.
You can find me on Instagram, Girl With No Job. My show, The Morning Toast, live Monday through Friday, 10:30 a.m. Eastern Time on YouTube. We're also available as a podcast anywhere podcasts can be found. That's The Morning Toast. And it has been an absolute pleasure seeing you, Nick. It's so nice to, see people.
Yeah, it is. Well, thanks for listening, guys. As always, make sure to check us out for our Listen to Your Heart recap. And on Wednesday, we have an absolute fantastic episode with Raja Kumari, which you're really going to love. Very talented musician, rapper, performer. And we just have a really fascinating conversation I think you'll enjoy. Until next time, thanks for listening. Claudia, as always, love talking to you. See you next time. Have a great
Bye, guys.